I'm Amy Smythe-Harris with RETI. Today I want to show you guys what's the difference between a note and a notebook on Evernote.com. Some just basic information for you. Today we're going to talk about what is a notebook in Evernote versus a note. So the notebook in Evernote for me is the title of a project that I'm working on. Maybe I'm doing a trip somewhere. But every client or prospect gets an Evernote notebook. So the way I personally organize it is that every seller's, it is their address, and every buyer is their name. So it's my way of working. It doesn't mean that that's what works for you, just something to think about for as you're organizing. So, and that's a notebook. So just like in a spiral notebook, you may have 5 subject notebook, and one section was for sellers, one section was for buyers. That's a notebook. And the inside of the pages of the spiral notebook is your notes. So no different than what you were trying to do and achieve with a spiral notebook. Now, what I want to do now today is go over how to create a notebook. And then the next section we'll talk about notes, how to create a note, what notes to create, and then we'll also show you how to take notes from your iPad and tablet or Droid devices. So to create a notebook, so I'm right now on my Mac and I'm using Evernote, and you'll notice it's premium, but your format will look different if you're on evernote.com versus when you are on another device. So this is just how to do it from a Mac right now, is to create a new notebook. Up here on the left-hand side, it'll say New Notebook. So I'm on the title. I can switch back and forth between notebooks. We'll talk about tags and outlets later, but let's just concentrate on creating a notebook. So New Notebook, what is up here? And as I said, it's for buyers' names for buyers, and listings would be their address. So I'm going to do 123 Oak Street as a new listing. We'll just call it 123 Oak Street. And you'll see that is creating a notebook. We'll talk later about stacks, but right now I just care about you learning how to do a notebook and what to do with it. Now over here are some things that you want to look at for yourself. Again, everything will look different. So I can share this notebook. I can share it with a seller. I can maybe share it with an assistant or another team member. And if I do that, I can also make it where they can either view it, they can edit it, or they can edit and invite others. So it's just up to you on how you share notebooks, and if you're using it for a team base, an assistant, or if you want to share a notebook with a client. Again, up to you. Now, personally, I don't share notebooks with my clients. I do work chats with my clients, but I don't share notebooks with them. I share notes, but not notebooks. Next to that is the cogwheel, which is these settings. So anytime you see a little cogwheel like this in almost any cloud-based program, whether it's on an iPad, any iPhone, whether it's a PC, anytime you're needing to find settings, always look for the cogwheel. That's kind of a universal symbol. So notebook name is, I can now change it if I don't want to have that as 123 Oak Street. Maybe I misspelled something, or I don't want it to say street. I can also make this my default notebook. Now making this my default notebook would mean by default any note that I don't automatically put into a special notebook would go into this. I do not have this as a default notebook. I have one that is a default notebook that was created when I started Evernote, called Amy and Smythe-Harris's notebook. So you can change that. So that's some quick things of what you can do. So if I double click on this notebook, this is where I can add notes. Again, from here on the notebook, I can put it in a different, change it here, find a notebook. I can then share it from here. If I'm inside the notebook, I can change the way it looks. Again, up to you. If you want expanded card view, if you wanted a snippet view, just depends on how you like to work. For me, that's not a big deal for me. But that's creating a notebook in Evernote. And again, we'll talk about next session about how to create a note in Evernote. Hope to see you then. Bye.